Welcome back to my little film and TV channel. Hope you're all staying safe and well. And we have a science fiction drama series based on a graphic novel, comic book, whichever you want to call it. So yeah, always interesting when you think of things like Stranger Things, etc. So we're going to have a look at something called Paper Girls today, a science fiction drama created by Stephanie Folsom and based on the comic book series of the same name written by Brian K. Vaughan. It premiered on Amazon Prime on July the 29th, 2022, and as of recording this and all these scores and comments are as at the 2nd of August at 3 p.m. So we've got 8 times 45-minute approximate episodes. So what are the public thinking? Well, they're quite positive. There's obviously a lot of the comic book fans sort of like this. Reading the reviews, a lot of the comic book fans are a bit disappointed in this. But overall, it's getting good scores. As I say, I don't know if these people watched the whole series or just the first episode or two. I'm not too sure. But Rotten Tomatoes audience, 83% positivity, so that's fine. Internet Movie Database, 7.1 out of 10, based on over 2,000 reviews. 1,140 scored it between 6 and 9, and 165 scored it between 2 and 5. So an 87% positivity, very similar to Rotten Tomatoes. And what's it about if you don't know the story? Well, Paper Girls follows 4 young girls who, while out delivering papers during the dark morning hours after Halloween in 1988, become unwittingly caught in a conflict between warring factions of time travellers. I do love a time travel film series. Is it? We'll see. Sending them on an adventure through time that will save the world as they travel between time periods. It does sound good, doesn't it? They encounter future versions of themselves and must choose to embrace or reject their fate. So, a lot in there for me to like. I do, from the old Star Trek time travel, I do like a good time jump, time flashbacks, alternate universes, etc., etc. So, all the right ingredients for me to enjoy it. It stars Cameron Jones as Tiffany Tiff Quilkin, Riley Leigh Nillette as Erin Ting, Sophia Rosinski as Mackenzie McCoyle, Fina Straza as Karina KJ Brandman, and Adina Porter as Prioress. Yeah, so a young cast in the main, obviously the main characters. A lot of these things for me stand and fall by the quality of the cast, and they were okay, but that's all I'm going to say for these girls as far as the roles we were playing. They did an okay job, but we'll talk about it a bit more when we look at the critique now. The critics themselves, Rotten Tomatoes away from the public, yeah, they liked it, nothing wrong. An 86% approval rating, an average of 6.9 out of 10, we'll take that, based on 42 critics' reviews. The consensus says, folding together time-travelling wonder with a strong ensemble of youngsters who are as dimensional as origami. Paper Girls is an absolute blast to the future. Well, I wouldn't particularly agree with that consensus. Metacritic, which uses the average, of course, assigned a score of 70 out of 100, and that's based on 20 critics, with 13 positive, 7 mixed, and no negative. So that's good, yeah. So I will have negatives on this, but not overall not a negative thing. And it scored anywhere between 42 out of 100, which is very good for a low score, and 100 out of 100, which I don't believe one moment. Let's have a look at some of the actual critics themselves. Richard Rooper, for Rotten Tomatoes, he was rotten on this. He's from the Chicago Sun-Times. He said, they're going to have to kick things into a faster and more compelling gear to convince us this is a story worth a long run. Yep, agree. It's very, very slow. Very, very slow at times, this, unfortunately. Keith Phipps was fresh, though. He's from TV Guide. We feature him occasionally. The mind-bending time contortions make it grabby. The characters in Inner Lives give it heart. But it's a combination of the two and the willingness to pause to focus on the latter that makes Paper Girls stand out. Really? I just thought a lot of too many one-dimensional, uninteresting characters for me. Makes me want a bit more sci-fi time travel conundrum rather than what we get, unfortunately, which is quite a wordy series in parts, which I don't mind normally as long as the characters are interesting, but they didn't particularly grow on me, unfortunately. And looking at Metascore, Consequences, Clint Worthington give it 40 out of 100 and said, the problem is whether due to budgetary limits or a desire to streamline the comics, the show flattens the look and scope of the story into something decidedly dull and derivative. Yep, I can't argue too much with Clint. I'm sorry, guys, but there are positives. As I say, I'm probably in the minority on this series. RogerEbbett.com's Nick Allen gave it 80 out of 100. When it comes to a show as crafty and good as Paper Girls, you can survive without a large emphasis on its broad science. Well, that doesn't worry me one iota anyway. It's not the problem for me. It's more about getting to know these girls. Part of the problem, and the surprise paths they take decades away from their paper delivery gigs or the people that they thought they would become. Yeah, I understand that. It just didn't quite work. Crafty and good. Well, I don't know what's crafty and good about it. Seen it before, done better. And sadly, the girls, despite their efforts, for me, just a bit plain and uninteresting. Right, so there we go, guys. On to my thoughts. As you can tell, I'm not overly enamoured with this series. I think things like this are always going to be compared to things like Stranger Things, which, to be honest with you, apart from the first series, I thought, obviously, and the final series, I thought was getting a little bit boring and mundane. But obviously, as I said, series one and certainly the last series interested me a lot more. But obviously, I'm not going to make a comparison with that because, as I said, I'm a bit mixed on that anyway. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this is as good or worse. I mean, there's a lot of love out there for this one, and I do struggle to fall in line. I'll admit that now. The humour, which you would see in a graphic novel, in a comic, I didn't gauge any in this at all. Like I say, I might have missed it. It was a struggle to watch at times for me because it just seemed long. But I just didn't see the humour side of it, which you expect in this sort of thing, which certainly is in similar series. There is potential, there's great potential as the girls make contact with future selves and family members. No paradox problem in this, where meeting yourselves can cause all sorts of problems. And the only thing I liked about it is the fact that obviously the fact of future versions dying in front of their eyes is good. I like that bit of it. That was fun. But that was about it, really. I did try, as you know, guys, I like to binge watch these things, and I did try to binge watch this, but I found it that unriveting that it took me probably a week to watch the 8 episodes, bits and pieces at a time. I probably watched a couple in one sitting, but that's not normal for me. If I binge watch something, I usually binge watch it because I'm enjoying it over a couple of, a night and a day or a couple of nights or whatever. So this sort of says a lot for me watching this, and even to stop and concentrate and fully watch it, as I say, and give it a chance. Which I thought perhaps I'm not giving this a proper chance by doing a couple of other things while it was on, but even that didn't quite work. As for an interesting story with people outside being hunted, yeah, that should be enough to fill 8 times 45 minutes. But when it boils down to it, there's probably 3 episodes. There's probably 3 good 45-minute episodes in this, and that's all, which isn't good enough. It's just too slow, fairly boring characters that, we had to learn a little bit about them, but it was just boring learning about them. I do like that side of it. And it's hard to see the appeal to teens or adults for a lot of the time. Although, as you can see from the scores, a lot of people like it. So I say I'm missing out on something somewhere. There's just not enough going on consistently. It sort of livens up and then quickly goes back to a crawl, which not good. I do like a wordy, clever script, so it gets you to know the characters. But sadly, this struggled to make me do this. And it also makes that fatal mistake that some series do, where it's a mistake or probably a cunning plan, actually, because this long drawn out series, the last episode is very watchable. The last episode makes you want to think, I will tune in now for next season, trying to make you forget what's gone before. And I'm not going to forgive, unfortunately, I do remember what happened in the first 7 episodes, so I'm not going to forgive that. Will I watch a second series? Possibly, but I will start to have it on in the background rather than a cup of coffee and concentrate, to be honest with you, because I just want something a little bit more interesting to watch. Hopefully series 2 will be, because I no doubt there will be a series 2. But yeah, it's just one of those series that you sort of get all G'd up for another series, but just by the ending they do it very, very well. But unfortunately, I'm not going to forgive what came before. I'm in a minority on this one, I know I am. but I'm happy not to give this a score. I'm not going to rate it. I thought it was just very disappointing for a time travel fan like myself. And as I said, there's certainly a 2-hour film in here somewhere, but that's about it over the 8 times 45-minute episodes. And I believe the comics are excellent, and a lot of people commented just how this misses out, really, apart from the first episode, misses out on what makes the comics so good. So that might have something to do with it as well. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I being a bit harsh on this? I don't know. As I say, I'm certainly not going to go back and watch it again. But yeah, Series 2, I will be interested, if not on the edge of my seat for it. Anyway, until we meet again, guys, please, everyone, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.